guys. How is it going? I hope everyone is doing well whenever you tune in and see this. For air sign Aquarius, and it is going to cover everything from love, work, friends, family, health, etc. It is also a timeless reading, so that means for some of you guys it could resonate as an example. For some people, 6 months in the past, or 6 months in the future, a year in the past, a year in the future. So it could go before or after the original title, which is for January 3rd through January 16th, 2022. Also wanted to say this reading may resonate for you even if you are not a sun, rising, or moon Aquarius, as we all have all 12 zodiac signs throughout our each individual birth charts. So that's why I always encourage everyone to find out their other placements, because also depending on what's going on in your life, you may resonate more with your moon sign or your rising sign or your sun sign. Okay, so that's why, and finding out your other placements if you don't already know is a really good thing to do, since knowledge is power. So even if you don't have your exact birth time, you can still get a pretty decent free birth chart online. So what else was I going to say? Yes, we're going to get into your reading here in just a moment, Aquarius. I've shuffled all of your cards, and I wanted to say to everyone who is new, first of all, welcome, right? And for those who aren't new as well, welcome back. And I will be taking one photo like I always do of all of the cards, and I'll be posting it on my Facebook after the live. So if you want to check it out, to look at it while you watch or listen, if you're not watching the live, or you just want to see it more up close in detail later, you can just click in the description box below and follow the instructions there. All right. So yes, my dogs had their first snow day today here on the East Coast where I'm at. And so that was pretty funny. I think they like it, but I also think they were like pretty cold and wet, and we're like, what is this? So I think I posted one of the videos I took of them at the dog park, if you're an animal person and want to see that. And I also just realized that this battery might be done for my timer. Hold on. Oh wait, no, it's okay. I just had it in backwards. So hold on, give me 1 second. I forgot to set this. It's kind of just, it's not an exact timer or anything, but it kind of gives me a little bit of a guideline. So we're going to get into reading here for the next 2 weeks or so. But I first wanted to start off with a little sound bell here, not only for me, but for you guys, for some general grounding and healing for the reading. So just be aware, sometimes it does get a little loud. And if you want to, you can take a deep breath in and out whenever, or you can just listen to. All right. All right, Aquarius. Also, I hope everyone had a good start to the new year and all that good stuff. So if you are new, I usually have a little bit of music in the background just because I have dogs and sometimes they bark. So if it gets too loud or if a commercial comes on, I will periodically turn it down. Okay. So I am paying attention to your reading, and I'm not looking at texts or calls or anything. I'm just adjusting the music. All right. So let's go ahead and start here with your first main cards here in the center, and then we'll work outwards to your tarot confirmation cards that I use with another deck. And then we're going to also talk about what's on the top and the bottom of each deck to get even more detail into your reading. And then at the very end, we go over a couple oracle cards for you as well. So this first row that we have here is energy starting around January 3rd. Could be a little bit before, a little bit after, but going through the rest of this week and this upcoming weekend. And then this kind of the same thing for the second row here. So that would be, next week, the second week of January, going to about January 16th or so. All right, and also be aware too as well, once you get into this reading here, Aquarius, if you find that it doesn't resonate for you, it could be about the person that you're dealing with or multiple people that you're dealing with or your general environment situation, or it just may not resonate at all. So that's why I was saying in the beginning to check out your other placements and other zodiac signs that I have here on my channel. Okay, so go ahead and call them out and then go in order. So you have Four of Swords in the reverse position, Queen of Swords right side up, Eight of Swords in reverse, Two of Staves in reverse, also known as Two of Wands in reverse, the Death card in the right side up position, and the Emperor in the right side up position. All right, so I also want to call out the zodiac signs that I see here as far as the major arcana in case some people are looking into that. So we do have Scorpio, Aries, Taurus, Scorpio twice, Taurus twice, Leo, and Aquarius yourself, okay? So when we get to each of those cards, I will mention it again. It could be that you are dealing with somebody that's one of those signs, or you have a lot of those signs predominantly in your birth chart, or they do, or it means nothing at all to you, but I just wanted to mention it, okay? It could also have something to do with the astrology. I always post an astrology notes separate video on my channel if you want to check that out for this time period as well. All right. So going into your first card here, Aquarius, and this could be energy kind of, still hanging out from the recent past. And what is the recent past? It could be a couple of days ago, hours, weeks, months, years, etc. for you. But you start with the Four of Swords in reverse position. And this is actually how you want to see this card. Okay, it means that you're putting down some mental burdens, anxiety, stress, overthinking, worry, being too much up in your head, okay? And when the swords are, going down, when you see them visually going down in the tarot, that is the negative aspect of the sword. But the sword is a weapon or a tool, right? And every card has positive and negative. So when it's right side up, this would be in the negative position, okay? But it is in the reverse position. Like I said, this is how you want to see this card here. Because when it was right side up, you see this Japanese woman and she's bearing the sword. She's trying to not face her problems, face her anxiety, worry, overthinking, being too much up in her head. But here, she's coming out of that energy. So you could find yourself coming out of that energy here, Aquarius, in the beginning of January, this first week of January, or the other person you're dealing with, or multiple people, general environment situation, okay? Now, pretty much your first row here is all swords, and they're all in really positive position, okay? So that's really nice to see as well. It could be that you are, picking up some of the astrology influences of the season, right? When you think of the new year, the new calendar year, a lot of times we do want to let go of things that no longer serve us. So there could definitely be some mental shedding of things that aren't as positive in our mental capacity, okay? Now, going into your second card here, another swords card, you have the Queen of Swords in the right side up position. So here she is this Japanese-like woman. She's holding a samurai sword. You can barely see it, but it's at one of her sides, really close to her. But she looks like a giant here, and she's towering over this island in the middle of the ocean, okay? And so here she is a queen, right? So she's a person of authority. She has tools that she each has support all around her. This is for momentum, abundance. The only kind of, thing I could say that's a shadow side of the Queen of Swords, even though it's in the right side up position, it could be seen that some people view her as very cutting, very dry, very cold, even though maybe she is very warm, or even if you're not a woman, right? He, she, they, however you identify. We're not talking about gender or gender roles. We're just talking about how the card is depicted, okay? And so, like I was starting to say, is even though you might have this warm side to you, the other person might have this warm side, or multiple people, general environment situation, they don't always show it, right? Because the Queen of Swords is also like a no nonsense, no bullshit kind of character, okay? So it could be that because your previous card, that one we started with, the Four of Swords in reverse, you're letting go of all this mental anxiety, worry, overthinking, being too much up in your head. And here you're going forward, having more mental clarity, coming into a position of power, of confidence, of having a lot of support around you, people looking up to you. The only warning I would say is just remember to have some emotions, right? You don't want to be completely emotionless, okay? But maybe it's just more of she only shows those emotions to a select few, okay? But either way, really nice placements, like I was saying, for all of your swords cards in that first row in the first week of January. So let's go to your next swords card that's very positive. Another shedding and releasing card. Okay, you have the Eight of Swords in reverse position. So again, this is how you want to see this card. All right, and it is about getting your emotions in control in a positive way. I forgot to say that too with the Queen of Swords, right? Because there's water in this card, very small at the bottom, right? She's standing over this island in the middle of the ocean. And then here with this card, just to show you when it's right side up, there is some type of lake or water in the background here as well, okay? So it's like double kind of energy of getting your emotions in a positive place to have it help you move forward in your life, whatever you're trying to manifest, okay? But here it's also extra shedding of any mental anxiety, worry, overthinking, being too much up in your head, being mentally exhausted. You're letting that go, or the other person, general environment situation is, okay? So very nice to see that, Aquarius. Now, before we move forward to your second row, my spirit guides wanted me to talk to you about what is on the top and the bottom of your other deck here in relation to that first three cards we just spoke about, okay? So you have, right, the Fool in the reverse position and the World in the right side up position. Now, this energy is not the recent past, like I said, could be in that first row. This is I'm calling it lately the way back past. So further back past that, okay? So again, it will be different for everybody. It could be days, weeks, months, years, etc. Okay, but it looks like there was this energy in the recent past here, Aquarius, where maybe somebody was having a hard time making a leap of faith or looking foolish in some way to either themselves or to others or to both. Okay, because there was like a little bit of this lack of wanting to take some type of leap of faith or having trust issues. Maybe somebody wasn't trusting that they would, if they made a leap of faith, that it would work out okay. But also there could be a little bit about some issues of loyalty here, because we do see this really small dog here jumping, if the card was right side up, just showing you for reference, jumping from one side of the land over the river to the other side. Okay, so it's in reverse. So it could be that this leap of faith didn't happen, or there was trust issues with somebody's loyalty here in regards to having that new beginning, that new phase of something. Okay, but it looks like however it went down, or however you identify with that in the way back past, that on the other side, right after that, you have another new beginnings card. It is the World card. or known as the universe card in this deck in the right side up position. So this is for momentum. This is positive energy. This is creating something, carving something out of nothing. We see these icebergs here, and there's this tiny kind of like whimsical looking woman here, carved into the ice, or just kind of hanging out here. Okay. That's supposed to be, when you see the world card in other decks, that's that woman there that has all that alchemy energy all around her. Okay. Now with this card real quickly, as far as talking about what zodiac signs come up, right? This actually has some Aquarius energy here, okay? Because the world card or the universe card in this deck, it represents Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo, okay? So that could mean something to you and it could not, all right? But I just wanted to mention it, okay? So it looks like whatever happened in the recent past, people got over some type of loyalty or trust issues, and they finally decided to start something new, to make a leap of faith in some way. This could have led to all of the shedding and clearing and mental clarity in that first week of January, the week we're in now, depending on when you're watching, and all that really good shedding of stuff that was no longer positive as far as your mental capacity. Okay. All right. Now, moving forward here, we are going to get into your fourth card. Yes, I was like making sure I was talking about it in the right way. So your fourth card is the Two of Spades, also known as the Two of Wands, in the reverse position. Okay. And so when we see this card, along with the other cards that we'll talk about in a moment that follow it, this is really about, in, let's say, the recent past, you were, right, getting control of your emotions, like we know, okay, from the other ones we just talked about. But when this card is right side up, we have the Nile River back here, the water, the emotions. It's in reverse. So it's like you now, in the second week of January, maybe have a stronger control of your emotions in a positive way, and now you're ready to step back out. Because when this is right side up, it's a passive card, and the way that it is now in reverse in relation to the other cards, now it's a more like let's go, go, go for momentum energy. Okay, so it could be now you're ready to resurface in some way in a social setting. Okay, you've processed your emotions in a positive way, and now you're ready to get back out there. You've taken advice from others, you've done your people watching, and kind of, going inwards and finding answers, and now you're ready to get back out there. Okay. And this is kind of what leads to your next card, your fifth card here, and it's so beautiful. And this is that Scorpio energy for the second time we see here in your reading, with the Death card in the right side up position. All right, Aquarius. And so this is all about, it's nothing to be scared of, right? Some people, if they're not familiar with tarot, they get scared of the Death card. It's nothing bad. It's actually good. It's the dying of the old to make room for the new. Okay, so it's like spring cleaning. You're cleaning out your house and your closet, right, to get rid of and donate stuff, whatever that you don't normally use, you no longer use, right? So then you can bring more abundance and fresh new energy in your energetic atmosphere in your house, as an example, right? But this is all about change, okay? It could be a good change, it could be a bad change. We don't know yet, right? Until we go further into your reading, but I think it's good. So, and this is nice to see too, because you don't want to resist the dying of an old philosophy or a point of view or way of doing something. You always kind of want to be learning something new and open to different ways of looking at things, okay? So you could be feeling that energy in the middle or so of that second week. It's not exact of January, okay? Now going forward, okay, here we've got a nice, really positive card. We have the Emperor in the right side up position, and that is that Aries energy I mentioned at the beginning. Okay, so you could be dealing with the Aries or have a lot of Aries in your chart, or they do, or it means nothing at all. It could have something to do with the astrology. All right, for this time period. But the Emperor is very confident in his position, right? He's sitting on his throne. He's balanced the masculine and feminine energies inside of himself. Okay, and he has the ability to see things from a higher perspective with the bird here that sits on his staff. Okay, and he's sitting on his throne. He has support behind him. People look up to him, right? The only thing I would say with the Emperor for some can just be a little bit of excuse me, a warning or shadow side of the card is just don't get too stuck in your ways again, because you had, right, that death card, which then led to the Emperor and all this forward momentum and growth and creativity and passion and all of these things, but don't get too comfortable on the throne is the only thing I would say with that, okay? Now, let's see. Oh, yes. So you, Aquarius, I've been doing this set of readings. I'm only doing 6 cards in the center, but Spirit wanted an additional card for you. So you actually have a 7th card. I think I forgot to mention it when we were calling out the cards, but that's okay. Anyway, here we are. So your 7th card in the main center here is the Hierophant, okay, in the right side up position, and that is Taurus energy. So again, you could be dealing with a Taurus, or you have a lot of Taurus predominantly in your chart, or they do, or something to do with the astrology, right? But this is your 7th card, right? And so this is really nice energy of leadership qualities. Again, following the Emperor, right? I would definitely say leadership qualities is the Emperor is the Aries card in the zodiac. It is the first zodiac sign, so it is naturally a leadership kind of energy. And you see these 3 women here. It looks like they're in Greece, maybe, and 2 of them are, you know, looking up to this 3rd woman who could be the main priestess or someone position of authority or a leader here, and they're kind of seated below her. Okay, so the Hierophant card also talks about, if not leadership qualities, could have something to do with a school or school-like institution. It could also be that you yourself are in a position of authority or a leadership role, but also could be, if it's not a teacher or talking about school, it could be a priest, a spiritual guru, a mentor, a guide, whatever you want to call it, but it has kind of that energy here. So when it's, again, following the Emperor, it's like double leadership qualities here, and really nice for momentum as well. So I like this for you, Aquarius. But we're not done yet, so let's keep going through your reading here, but so far really nice, okay? So let's go ahead and talk about your tarot confirmation cards with the other deck. I'll call them out and then we will go in order. So your first one here is the 6 of Cups in the right side up position. Then you have the Page of Wands in the reverse position, and then you have the 3 of Wands in the right side up position. Okay, so the first 2 confirmation cards here is usually past energy, and then the 3rd one is usually more future current energies here in this first 2 weeks of January. Okay, now it's too quiet, hold on. So when we talk about your first confirmation card, the 6 of Cups in the right side up position, this is this really nice energy of these 2 children giving each other fruit in this garden, and there's you know, these cups, 6 cups in the right side up position. There's positive emotions, right? So the cards, the cups in tarot represent emotions. Okay, so emotional fulfillment, emotional contentment, emotional happiness. Okay, but the 6 of Cups also, since it's children here, it has this nostalgic like feeling to it. It could be in reference to you dealing with somebody from your past that you've already known, or it could be dealing with issues from the past, childhood issues, or even if it's not childhood issues, could just be past issues, right? But it is a really nice energy depending on how you find yourself within the reading, okay? But let's talk about it coming in here and confirming these 2 cards. So the 6 of Cups is confirming the 4 of Swords in reverse and the 2 of Staves or 2 of Wands in reverse here. Okay, so this is basically saying here, Aquarius, that in the past, There was, this idea when we talk about um, nostalgia of being a child, right? You think of children having not a lot of worries or responsibilities, right? And so usually it's that fondness kind of memory. And so when you see the Six of Cups, it can also talk about that somebody is coming out of that. Naive way of looking at something like a child, that things are only good, and seeing things more in a adult viewpoint of seeing the positive and the negative, that they both are always there, okay? And they wax and wane, right? But when we put it together with the Four of Swords in reverse and the Two of Staves in reverse, it's like, yes, this now being able to see things from a more adult point of view, or dealing with issues from the past in a positive way, or dealing with a person from the past, multiple people from the past in a positive way, because these two card placements, along with the rest of everything else we've already talked about, I really do see it in a positive way for you here, Aquarius, all right? Because it let you do that mental shedding, let go of any anxiety, worry, overthinking, being too much up in your head, and you stopped burying stuff. You brought it to light, you dealt with it, right? Like an adult would do. Like if a kid breaks something in the house, they might try to hide it so the parents don't find out about it. But here as an adult, you're like, hey, I broke this thing. I'm going to try to fix it or pay for it or whatever, just as an example, okay? And then with the Two of Staves in reverse position, also being able to see things from a more adult point of view, not a bitter point of view, but just a more equal balance, negative and positive point of view. Now you're able to balance your emotions, right, in a more equal way, which gets you back out into your world, into your social setting in some way, because you've done a lot of people watching, you've taken in all the advice that you needed to, and you've also done your own soul searching and gotten some answers from within, and now you're ready to move forward. Okay, so that's really nice. And again, in that adult point of view. Okay. And again, emotional contentment, emotional fulfillment, and happiness, because the cups are right side up as well, right? It just looks like a really nice energy. Okay. Now moving forward, your second confirmation card is the Page of Wands in the reverse position. And before we talk about which two cards it's confirming, this is actually where my spirit guides wanted me to talk to you about what's on the top and the bottom of your other deck here, the ones we use for the cards in the middle. Okay, so this is again past, way back past energy. Okay, so you have the Four of Staves in reverse position on the top of the deck, and then you have the Prince of Swords in the reverse position on the bottom of the deck. Okay, so this is basically saying that in the way back past here, Aquarius, there could have been a celebration put on hold, or there was some type of communication that lacked vulnerability, or somebody wasn't ready for some type of vulnerable communication with someone or multiple people, or somebody wasn't ready for a celebration in some way, or someone wasn't ready for a certain type of union, because the Four of Staves right side up is also a union card, right? And it could be a union of a work partnership, it could be a romantic union, of course, it could be a union with friends or family, or even a union of different parts of yourself, however and whatever you're watching this reading for. But it didn't happen, or somebody wasn't ready, or multiple people weren't ready, right? And it could be here because there was still that mental confusion in the past, the way back past here with the Prince of Swords in the reverse position. It could also be that that the emotions were clouding their judgment, right? Because there's water in the back of this card as well when it's in the right side up position. It could also be talking about that somebody was not trusting their own intuition, not trusting their own emotions, and that's what led to this confusion in the past, okay? Because when the card's right side up, if you look really closely, This guy's eyes look like they're almost about to close, and he looks like in this meditative state. But when it's in reverse, it's almost like denying that meditative state, denying the intuition, denying your own emotions and what it's telling you. Okay. So the reason why I wanted to talk about these cards in relation to your second confirmation card, the Page of Wands in reverse, is because, and this is all past energy, all three of these cards, is because the Page of Wands in reverse is some type of small communication that either didn't go through or wasn't well received, which is very similar, right, to the Four of Staves in reverse when I said somebody maybe was not ready for some type of vulnerable communication, okay? Somebody maybe wasn't ready for some type of union as well, or celebration, okay? And that's because of that past mental confusion and past denying their emotions and intuition. Now, this could be for some of you guys something that, you know, perhaps wanted to start, or you wanted to start, or the other person wanted to start, or multiple people they wanted this to start like this spring, perhaps, right? Since depending on where you are in the world, here in the US, it's winter time, okay? But I say that because there's this little tiny rabbit at the base of the card when it's right side up. And so that kind of refers to the springtime as far as a timing kind of concern with the card, okay? So it also could be, since it's the past, it could be something referring to last spring, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be about the future. It could also definitely, since it is a past card and we're talking about all three of these cards that we just talked about are all past energy. So it could also be something that happened, let's say last spring, maybe. It won't resonate for everybody, but just thought I'd mention it. So now we'll talk about what the second confirmation card here is confirming. Since it's a confirmation card, well, which cards is it confirming? It's confirming the Queen of Swords in the right side up position and the Death card in the right side up position. So it's almost like a catalyst card. So whatever communication, the small communication that didn't happen in the past or wasn't well received or was put on hold. And what is a small communication? As an example, let's say you are talking to somebody and they send you an email or they send you a text message. That would be a small communication versus, as an example, a medium-sized communication would be an actual phone call, and a large communication would be maybe talking to them in person. It's just an example, okay? But again, this was a catalyst, okay? Because it didn't go through or was put on hold or wasn't well received, this led to getting control of your emotions, right? With the Queen of Swords in the right side up position, now having that mental clarity, and then letting go of the old and clearing the way for something new, for some type of transformational change with the Death card in the right side up position. Okay. Now moving forward, we're going to talk about your third confirmation card here, which is actually confirming 3 cards instead of 2 because you had that little extra one there. And this third confirmation card is not past energy. It is more future current energies. That's how I like to look at it. But anyway, regardless of that, you have the 3 of Wands in the right side up position. This is a celebratory energy to it, okay, that talks about passion and courage, okay, because there is a lot of growth and abundance in this card as well. It's 3 wands, it's not 9 or 10, okay, but it's slowly getting there, all right? Because I say it's abundance and growth because there's actually these little tiny leaves on the wands, right? And the wands are actually carved from a tree, right? They're wooden wands, okay? Or poles, if you want to call it that, okay? And so there is some abundance and energy to this card as well. And what is abundance? It's money, of course, but it also is whatever you want to manifest in your life, okay? But, you know, you see this man at the top of this hill here, and he's looking out over the ships, okay? And it has a little bit of some people watching energy, similar to the Two of Staves that you had in reverse, earlier in your reading, because he's watching the ships go out to sea and seeing which way they go and how they do it. But it's almost like, how do we say it? Well, it goes in order. Okay, just for example, I'm going to turn this one right side up. Okay, here's the Two of Wands, and here's the Three of Wands. So one's a passive energy, people watching. They're also watching the ships in the background, but they're not taking action. They're not ready to have a celebration or have more abundance or growth in some way. So it's like 2 to 3. Okay, so there is growth here. We see all the way at the end of your reading as well. I mean, lots of growth in your reading. We already talked about with the Death card and the Emperor and the Hierophant and all of that. And all the shedding and letting go and yes, everything. But yeah, it's a very nice energy. Okay. Wow, excuse me, so sorry, 1 second. Let me just put this music back on a little bit. Okay, not too loud. All right. So the Three of Wands is coming in here and it is confirming the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Emperor right side up. Yes, there we go on the bell. And also, since you had that additional card, it's also confirming the Hierophant in the right side up position here, Aquarius. So this is basically telling us that all this growth and abundance that's in the card and the celebration, okay, is leading and kind of reflecting back to the energies in all three of these cards of letting go of the mental anxiety, worry, overthinking, getting control of your emotions, stepping into a leadership role for some of you with the Emperor and the Hierophant in the right side up position, or being in a position of authority in some way where people look up to you and count on you, but you're able to see something from a higher perspective, okay? And so this is some really, really nice energy, and again, it will resonate in different ways for each of you. But I am loving this here for you, Aquarius. As far as your tarot, that is what I have for you. But now, really quickly, before you leave and before we have this camera on for too long, is let's talk about your oracle cards. So your first oracle message is your love oracle card, whether you're watching for romantic love or platonic love with friends or family, or even self-love, or all of those, right? Your love oracle message is, it's not the best, but it happens. And it's usually for a reason, but it's unrequited love. And it says, there's not enough attraction or chemistry to keep this relationship going. Okay, and so here you see this woman and she's turning away from this guy who's kissing her hand, right? She's like, oh no. So if this is a romantic situation, it's pretty self-explanatory. Like I already said, there's not enough chemistry, attraction to keep it going. Okay, and what do they say? Whether you're rejecting someone or someone's rejecting you, it is usually, I can't think of the phrase now. God's protection is rejection, or rejection is God's protection. Something like that. So usually if it, even though, like I said, it's not the best card, it's not the easiest message, but it is usually for a reason, and that person wasn't meant for you, or you weren't meant for them. Okay, so that's kind of definitely how I would take it. Now, if it's with friends or family, it's still kind of a similar message, right? That they're, let's say, the emotional chemistry or spiritual chemistry, not an attraction, romantic chemistry, but the other ones maybe wasn't strong enough to keep the friendship going or to keep the connection with that family member going. Okay, so you could also take it that way as well. Now, if we're talking about self-love with this card, I would say that if there are different parts of yourself where you don't vibe with who you once were, or you don't vibe with what even somebody else thinks you're still currently showing up as, it could be that's why it's not working anymore. And so you need to let that go let that part of yourself go if you don't resonate or vibe with it. And if other people don't like that you're doing that, then, you know, too bad for them, because you have to always go with your intuition and your frequency and what you resonate with. Okay. All right. Now, your last oracle card here, and hopefully I will pronounce it right. This is the Kalima oracle deck that a dear friend got for me that I really like, and it's by Elena Fairchild, and I believe the artist is Jimmy Manton. Okay, but the oracle card that you got for this time period and even beyond possibly is Mahavedra, I think is how you pronounce it. Okay, so you see this sword here in the center on top of this oracle, and there's a flower and some prayer beads, and looks like the moon in the background, but it's kind of hard to tell exactly. Okay. So this is a really nice energy. I don't think I've seen this card before yet. And when we talk about Kalima Oracle deck, Kalima, the way that I kind of learned about her, and I'm still learning, of course, many years ago, is that you pray to her for justice. Okay, so instead of taking on the karma yourself, you pray to Kalima for her to, seek justice for you. Okay. Or vengeance, right? So anyway, I want to read just a little bit about this card here, all right? So Mahavedra, she is unrestrained, unlimited, wild, and unconditional love. The heart knows how to attract grace and manifest creative resolution where the mind sees only difficulties. A spiritual awakening of tremendous value is opening for you. As your inner being reorients itself around the increasing inner light, established structures built upon lesser foundations will have to give way. She demands the courageous embrace of experience. She is your call to initiation and growth, your invitation to embrace your path, rise and greet your destiny. Mahavedra is the great wisdom that manifests through 10 wisdom goddesses. Mahavedra is primordial, Kali, and multiple expressions, providing whatever is needed to serve the spiritual benefit of all beings. This is true wisdom, always shifting in response to what is needed. There are times when no matter how logical an approach may be, no matter how commonly acknowledged as correct or how sensible it may seem, the heart nudges us in a different way. The heart nudges us towards a different way, Knowledge can come from experience, yet it cannot guarantee evolution on its own. We can outgrow problems and birth superior outcomes only when we are willing to learn from our experiences and have the courage to be moved in new ways along untried paths that resonate within the heart. I would say that this card, right, off the bat, definitely goes with the death card, right? So the dying of the old. It was talking about, where did it say it? It was like, oh yes, established structures built upon lesser foundations will have to give way. And when we were also talking about, I don't know where it was now, but the unrequited love card, I think is when I said it, that if it's about you and self-love, right, or different kinds of love, of course, platonic or romantic, if you no longer resonate with that part of yourself or it's parts of yourself that you were in your past, now you're letting that go. So the foundations are falling. And if other people don't like it, that's why I said too bad. Okay, so that's kind of some energy we see here again in this oracle card. What else? I'm not going to read the whole thing. Da da da. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Let me turn this down. Sorry. It says, the universe is not behaving according to her view of things. The wisdom response to this is to detangle the healthy desire to experience our innate worth from the circumstances. We can then release that the unexpected fruit, or what comes out, or what comes out that's been planted, is a gift of love and well-being. There is no distress, only growth and learning. Okay. Now I'll read this short little prayer that goes with it, and then we'll end there. Okay. All right. So it says, beloved wisdom mother of my heart, Mahavedra Kalima, I mentally and emotionally let go now, no longer trying to impose my viewpoint upon events, no longer buying into interpretations of what is happening in my life which created fear, confusion, or distress. Yes, it says, I'm no longer trying to impose that or understand the fear, confusion, or distress. That's all of your swords cards that we talked about earlier too, all being in the reverse. Letting go of those things that you no longer worry about or have anxiety or fear or mental confusion about, okay? What else? Here we go. And the rest of your prayer here, it says, I rest still in the center of my being where you reside. I become quiet, feeling and listening for your presence. I am now receptive to your infusions of wisdom. I surrender and am empowered to move forward on my path, secure in your guiding grace for the spiritual benefit of all beings. Ja Ma Kali. All right, so beautiful. All right. So yeah, if you want to look more into it, because like I said, I didn't read the whole thing, you can look up the Kalima Oracle deck by Elena Fairchild, or even, I don't know if you can, some of these terms you definitely can Google and, you know, find some wisdom and understanding of these words, but it's card number 15, Mahavedra, okay? If that's something you want to look more into. But yes, that is your reading here, Aquarius. Thank you guys so much, as always, for your views, for your likes, for your subscriptions. They're all free and great ways to support my channel. I really do appreciate it. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to, it is free. All you have to do is click on the bell icon. It's on the bottom right, but my right is your, oh my God, I'm going to say this wrong. My right is actually, or my left is your right. So it should be on this side, okay? Or just look at on the side, you'll find it. It's a bell icon. It looks like a bell, and you just click on it and make sure it's blue and it's active. And basically, if you have a YouTube email set up already, it just lets you know when I put out new videos. What else? And yeah, if you want to see the photo that I take as well of all the cards here in your reading, you can click in the description box below and find how to get it there too. But anyway, thank you guys so much as always, and take care, and I'll see you guys later. All right, bye.